I'm Haley Thompson, 35 years old, and I've spent my life playing second fiddle in my own family, always the responsible one, overshadowed by my sister's golden glow. As a single mom to my 10-year-old twins, a sensitive boy with asthma and his bold, outspoken sister, I fought tooth and nail to give them stability after my messy divorce 2 years ago. Teaching elementary school in the chilly outskirts of Chicago, right by Lake Michigan's unforgiving waves, means long hours, prepping lessons and grading papers, but it's my lifeline to rebuild. It started innocently enough when my ex-husband and I split after 12 years. Financial ruin forced me back under my parents' roof. At first it felt like a blessing, a spare room for the kids' shared meals, and me chipping in on bills while saving for our own place. But old patterns resurface fast. My parents have always favored my sister, their star, with her thriving business and picture-perfect life, while I've been the dutiful daughter picking up the slack. The real storm hit when my sister and her family needed to crash with us during their home reno. Suddenly our space shrank and the favoritism exploded. My kids' routines got trampled, quiet hours enforced for her baby, their toys shoved aside, even the TV commandeered for her husband's games. Tensions built as my parents critiqued my parenting at every turn, praising her while sidelining us. But the breaking point when they decided my twins didn't deserve the good upstairs room and demoted them to the damp basement, risking my son's health in that moldy pit near the lake's humidity. I didn't explode or beg. I packed us up and vanished that night, cutting ties to reclaim our dignity. What chaos unfolded when we were gone? How did their perfect facade crumble? Stick around. This is my unfiltered tale of ditching toxic family chains and rising stronger. If this hits home, share your city in the comments below and smash that subscribe button for more gripping real-life family sagas that expose the raw truths behind closed doors. After Jacob Thompson and I parted ways following 12 years of marriage, the fallout hit hard, leaving me to navigate a shattered financial landscape alone. The divorce drained our savings with legal fees and custody battles, eating into what little we had left. I transitioned from part-time substitute teaching to a full-time position at Lincoln Elementary, in the outer suburbs of Chicago, where the cold winds off Lake Michigan seemed to mirror the chill in my daily grind. My schedule stretched to 12-hour days starting at dawn, with lesson plans on basic math and reading, then classes filled with energetic second graders, followed by after-school grading and parent meetings. It was exhausting but necessary to cover rent, groceries, and the twins' needs without relying on Jacob's sporadic child support payments. Joseph and Helen, my parents, stepped in with an offer to let us stay at their modest 2-story home on the lake's edge, where the constant hum of waves provided a deceptive sense of calm. They presented it as temporary support, insisting it would give me time to stabilize. At first, the arrangement worked smoothly. Christopher and Sierra got their own shared bedroom upstairs, complete with bunk beds and space for their books and toys. I contributed to household expenses by paying a portion of utilities and groceries, and I took on cooking duties most evenings, whipping up simple meals like pasta or grilled chicken to keep everyone fed. Joseph, always the practical one with his background in construction, handled minor repairs around the house, while Helen managed the garden, growing herbs that added fresh flavors to our dinners. Christopher Thompson, my son, showed his creative side early on, sketching intricate drawings of imaginary worlds during quiet evenings, though his sensitivity meant he often retreated into himself when routines shifted. Sierra Thompson, his twin, balanced him out with her dynamic energy, always ready to organize games or stand up for what she believed in, her laughter echoing through the halls. I cherish these moments, using them as fuel to push through my long shifts at school, where I demonstrate science experiments or read stories to wide-eyed kids, all while mentally tallying my savings. My goal was clear: save enough for our own place within a year. Chicago's housing market was brutal, with even small apartments in the suburbs commanding high rents due to proximity to the lake and commuter lines. I opened a dedicated savings account, depositing every extra dollar from overtime pay or holiday bonuses, researching affordable neighborhoods online during lunch breaks. The dream of independence kept me motivated, envisioning a cozy spot where the twins could have stability without the undercurrents of family tension. That's when the subtle shifts began with my sister Mariah Ellis and her husband James Ellis. They'd recently welcomed their son Daniel Ellis, a chubby infant with the infectious gurgle, and my parents doted on him from the start. Despite Mariah having her own spacious home in a nearby upscale area thanks to her successful online boutique selling handmade jewelry, they started transforming our shared dining room into a makeshift nursery. Helen cleared out cabinets to store Daniel's diapers and formula, while Joseph installed a portable crib, justifying it as just for visits. Gift poured in unevenly expensive rattles and designer onesies for Daniel during family gatherings, while the twins received practical items like school supplies. Mariah would drop by unannounced, her business calls interrupting meals, and Helen would shush everyone to let Daniel nap, her eyes lighting up at his every coup. James, with his sales job that involved frequent travel, added to the dynamic by praising Mariah's achievements, constantly sharing stories of her latest sales spikes. I noticed how Joseph nodded approvingly, contrasting with his brief acknowledgments of my teaching milestones, like when I led a successful school fundraiser. The favoritism wasn't overt yet, but it simmered, making me question if staying here was truly the fresh start I needed. Still, I focused on my plan, logging extra hours at school to build that nest egg, determined not to let these ripples derail us. Everything shifted when Mariah and James announced their home renovation, a project that would displace them for 6 to 8 weeks. They moved in with organized efficiency, wheeling in cribs, high chairs, and stacks of clothing, immediately supported by Joseph and Helen, who cleared the den for their temporary setup. Daniel's cries echoed as they settled, prompting Helen to coo over him, while Joseph assembled a changing station in the bathroom, prioritizing their comfort over existing arrangements. The constraints on my children intensified day by day, turning simple activities into challenges. Helen implemented a strict no-noise policy during Daniel's feeding times, which extended unpredictably and required the twins to whisper or use hand signals in common areas. Sierra's beloved craft kit filled with beads and strings was tucked away in a cabinet to avoid small parts near the baby, Joseph locking it with a key he kept on his belt. Shared resources skewed when Mariah monopolized the kitchen for blending baby food, delaying our meals, and James commandeered the laundry room for washing Daniel's clothes first, leaving our loads piling up. A major clash occurred during a stormy evening when James hosted a poker night for his work team, dealing cards on the coffee table amid cigar smoke and rowdy banter. The racket penetrated upstairs, waking Daniel, who wailed incessantly, but when Christopher peeked down to see the commotion, Helen accused him of sneaking and sent him back with a warning. Sierra, frustrated by the hypocrisy, whispered her complaints to me, leading to my direct challenge to James in the hallway, demanding respect for all residents, only for him to laugh it off as harmless fun, essential for his networking. To counterbalance the restrictions, I arranged weekend escapes to the community center by the lake, where we'd participate in free art classes. Sierra molding clay figures with enthusiasm, and Christopher painting abstract waves inspired by the water's choppy surface. Their creativity flourished there, away from home's judgments, as we discussed techniques over hot cocoa from the vending machine. Nightly, I'd initiate story sessions in bed, taking turns reading chapters from adventure books, illuminating pages with a flashlight to create an intimate bubble of imagination and laughter. Everyday jabs at my methods mounted, eroding my confidence bit by bit. Lunch preparations drew Helen's disapproval of the twins' sandwich preferences, advocating for pureed fruits she made for Daniel while labeling my quick fixes as lazy. Joseph critiqued their play schedules, admiring Mariah's structured play dates for her son, but deeming mine chaotic, disregarding how Mariah cancelled plans for her son at the last minute without consequence. Following Christopher's late homework submission due to a power outage, Helen questioned my organizational skills, juxtaposing it with Mariah's seamless handling of her son's routines, though Mariah often overslept and rushed mornings. Such dynamics spurred me to intensify efforts at Lincoln Elementary, leading workshops on literacy strategies for fellow teachers, extending my days but gaining valuable feedback and additional paychecks. The professional environment bolstered my resolve, surrounded by supportive staff who shared tips on balancing work and family. In quiet moments, I compiled notes on my laptop about the inequities, recording episodes like Helen knitting blankets specifically for Daniel or Joseph teaching him basic words, bypassing opportunities to engage with the twins similarly. As the supposed short stay dragged on with contractor setbacks, Mariah's online orders overflowed into the garage, her packaging materials cluttering walkways, and James's gym equipment took over the porch. The lake's relentless cold seeped through cracks, heightening the emotional freeze within, making every interaction feel more strained. I deepened my housing hunt, scheduling in-person viewings for modest condos with playground access, evaluating floor plans for the twins' comfort, steadfast in pursuing a space free from bias. The build-up tested my patience, but I held firm, focusing on small victories like the twins' improved grades from extra study time I enforced. Helen's preferential treatment, such as special outings for Daniel to the zoo, highlighted the divide, while Joseph's repairs favored their side of the house. Mariah's casual interruptions during my work calls added insult, her laughter with Helen over coffee ignoring my deadlines. James's late-night TV marathons disturbed sleep, yet complaints fell on deaf ears. Through it all, the park visits became lifelines, with Sierra leading treasure hunts along the shore and Christopher identifying cloud shapes, building resilience in nature's embrace. My journal entries grew detailed, capturing the emotional toll to process privately. School projects consume more time, like designing interactive maps for geography lessons, earning praise from principals. The renovation excuses multiplied, keeping them entrenched, but my resolve hardened, eyeing calendars for move-out timelines. By late summer, the criticisms from Joseph and Helen escalated, targeting my choices with sharper edges than before. During a family barbecue in the backyard, Helen pulled me aside to lecture on the twins' screen time, claiming it fostered laziness while overlooking Daniel's tablet use for cartoons. Joseph chimed in later that evening, faulting my budgeting for school supplies as extravagant, even as he funded Mariah's latest gadget purchases without question. Gift imbalances grew stark during Daniel's first birthday party, hosted in the living room with balloons and a custom cake Helen baked. The event featured lavish presents like a motorized toy car from Joseph and a silver rattle from Helen, for Daniel totaling hundreds of dollars. In contrast, the twins' recent achievements, a spelling bee win for Sierra and an art award for Christopher, garnered only verbal congratulations, no tangible rewards. Mariah beamed as James filmed Daniel unwrapping items, her thanks directed solely at our parents, ignoring my help with setup. Motivated by these slights, I accelerated my secret house search, scanning listings on my phone during school breaks. My savings account had swelled to a comfortable amount through consistent deposits from payroll deductions and freelance tutoring sessions I started after hours. I viewed properties online, favoring 2-bedroom units in quiet neighborhoods with good schools, calculating mortgage pre-approvals based on my salary increases from positive evaluations. At Lincoln Elementary, I confided in Cheyenne Barnes, a fellow teacher in the math department, during a staff lounge conversation over coffee. She listened intently as I described the home dynamics, nodding empathetically before advising on real estate agents she trusted from her own move years ago. Cheyenne suggested prioritizing locations with community resources like libraries for the twins, emphasizing the importance of a supportive environment away from family pressures. William Hayes, another colleague from the science wing, joined our discussion unexpectedly, offering insights on rental agreements. He recommended reviewing lease terms for hidden fees and ensuring pet policies if we ever considered adopting, drawing from his experience as a landlord's son. William pulled up sample contracts on his tablet, highlighting clauses about maintenance responsibilities and security deposits, urging me to consult a free legal clinic in town for verification. The strain showed on the children, manifesting in ways that broke my heart. Christopher began isolating himself, more skipping group activities at recess to read alone in the classroom, his grades dipping slightly in subjects requiring participation. One afternoon, he confessed feeling overlooked, his voice trembling as he described overhearing Helen praise Daniel's early walking steps while dismissing his drawing skills as mere doodles. Sierra's distress peaked during a practice session in her room, where she played her clarinet with passion notes floating through the house. James interrupted abruptly, banging on the door to complain. The sound disturbed Daniel's bath time, his tone harsh and unyielding. Sierra burst into tears afterward, instrument clutched tightly, questioning why her music mattered less than a baby's routine. I held her close, wiping away sobs, vowing internally to shield them better. That incident solidified my timeline. I promised the twins we'd have our own home before Christmas, describing visions of decorating a tree in a space just for us, with rooms where they could express freely without judgment. We brainstormed ideas together, Sierra suggesting a music corner and Christopher a quiet reading nook, their excitement reigniting hope amid the gloom. To prepare, I attended open houses discreetly on weekends, noting features like insulated windows to combat lake winds and proximity to parks for outdoor play. Financial planning intensified with spreadsheets tracking expenses down to the penny, incorporating Cheyenne's tips on utility costs in different areas. William followed up via email with resources on tenant rights, including links to state laws on fair housing. The ongoing renovation delays from Mariah's contractors extended their stay, amplifying household friction. Joseph repaired leaks in their temporary quarters first, while Helen prepared special meals for Daniel's teething phase, using ingredients I bought but reallocating them without asking. Mariah's business calls dominated the dining table, her success stories shared proudly by our parents contrasting my quieter professional updates. Despite the mounting pressure, I channeled energy into school initiatives, organizing a fall festival that boosted my reputation among administrators. The twins participated, Christopher designing booths and Sierra performing short tunes, gaining confidence from peer applause. These external validations countered the home negativity, reinforcing my determination. As autumn leaves began falling along the lakefront, the promise to the twins loomed large, a beacon guiding us through the discord. I visualized our independent life free from comparisons, where efforts received equal recognition. The search narrowed to promising options, inspections lined up, all while maintaining composure at home. The situation escalated in September when Joseph called a family meeting in the kitchen after dinner. Mariah presented her case first, explaining that Daniel needed a dedicated play area to stimulate his development, complete with mats and educational toys. She outlined benefits for motor skills and creativity. James followed, requesting a corner for his home office setup, citing increased remote work demands from his promotion, needing desks and monitors. Helen agreed immediately, suggesting reallocating spaces to accommodate them, identifying the twins' room as ideal. Joseph proposed using the upstairs storage for overflow items, volunteering to move heavy furniture himself. Their plan unfolded without my input, as they had already decided on moving the twins' belongings to the basement. That space, rarely used, featured exposed pipes and a musty odor from proximity to the lake's moisture, with concrete floors that retained chill even in warmer months. Low ceilings amplified echoes, and poor ventilation trapped humidity, creating an environment prone to allergens. Christopher's asthma made it particularly hazardous, as dust and dampness could trigger attacks, leading to wheezing or worse. I was at school that afternoon, leading a group activity on fractions with manipulatives, showing students how to visualize halves and quarters, when my phone vibrated with messages from Sierra. Her text described the relocation: beds dragged downstairs, noisily clothes stuffed in boxes without care, and toys scattered amid the clutter. Christopher added details about the cold air seeping through foundation cracks and spiders webbing in dark corners, his words conveying fear and discomfort, noting a chill that made him shiver. Reading them, my pulse quickened, but I finished the lesson before excusing myself early, citing a family emergency to the principal. Driving home along the lake road, waves crashing under gray skies, I rehearsed confrontations in my mind, focusing on facts over emotions to safeguard the children. Upon arrival, I found the basement transformed into a makeshift bedroom, mattresses on the floor, surrounded by unpacked crates, the air thick with mildew. The twins sat on a blanket, Sierra hugging her knees and Christopher wheezing slightly from the descent, holding his inhaler close. Joseph met me at the top of the stairs, arms crossed, defending the move as practical. Helen joined, insisting Daniel deserved the brighter upstairs room for his growth stages, her tone firm. Mariah nodded along, mentioning studies on infant environments emphasizing natural light's role. James argued his productivity required quiet, dismissing basement drawbacks. I demanded explanations, voice steady despite inner turmoil, pointing out the health risks to Christopher from allergens and mold potential. Joseph waved it off, claiming a quick clean would suffice. Helen accused me of overreacting, prioritizing Daniel's milestones over minor adjustments. Their words stung, revealing deep preferences. I avoided escalation in front of the children, instead directing them to gather essentials for the night such as toothbrushes and stuffed animals. James interjected, stating the decision was final and beneficial overall, suggesting it built adaptability. Mariah added that sharing resources fostered family bonds, ignoring the imbalance. I countered with specifics on asthma management, referencing doctor guidelines for clean air, showing articles on my device. They shifted blame to my parenting, Helen suggesting stricter routines. Retreating briefly, I texted Cheyenne for advice, her reply urging calm assertion. William messaged practical suggestions, recommending temporary air purifiers if stuck. The twins' questions about Daniel's favoritism hurt, prompting gentle explanations on advocating for needs. As evening fell, lake fog enveloping the house, I inspected the basement further, noting water stains on walls and faint mold spots, photographing with my phone. Joseph caught me accusing unnecessary drama, but I stood ground, emphasizing safety, referencing health codes. Helen prepared Daniel's bedtime upstairs, her voice audible. The meeting reconvened in the living room, where I reiterated demands for reversal, proposing alternative configurations like partitioning rooms. Mariah resisted, claiming her family's needs were urgent due to timelines. James backed her, stressing his career obligations. Maintaining composure. I focused on immediate fixes, proposing interim motel arrangements, but they rejected it as extravagant. The discussion highlighted value differences, but I concluded by declaring pursuit of outside mediation if unresolved. Anger bubbled, yet I directed it toward protection, comforting the twins with stories. Their reliance strengthened my will as winds rattled windows. Sleep escaped me that night, watching Christopher's breaths amid creaks. Thought solidified plans. Dawn spurred action, reaching out for expedited housing options. The incident signaled irreversible change, highlighting inequities. When I stepped into the house and saw the twins sitting and crying in the basement, I forced a smile, the only one I'd allow myself in that moment of resolve. I knelt down, pulling them into a hug, whispering that everything would be okay. Sierra sniffled, asking why we had to stay down there, and Christopher rubbed his eyes, complaining about the dust irritating his lungs. I told them to start gathering their favorite items like Sierra's clarinet case and Christopher's sketch pad, assuring them we'd leave soon. They looked puzzled but complied, stuffing backpacks with clothes and books while I stepped upstairs to face the others. In the living room, Joseph, Helen, Mariah, and James sat discussing dinner plans. I interrupted, voice firm, announcing we'd move out immediately. Shock registered on their faces as I revealed the lease I'd signed that morning for a 2-bedroom apartment near Lincoln Elementary in a safe suburb with parks and short commutes. Helen protested, calling it impulsive, but I countered by listing years of favoritism, from overlooked birthdays to ignored achievements, emphasizing how Daniel's needs always trumped the twins. Joseph defended their choices as practical, but I pointed out the hypocrisy in endangering Christopher's health for convenience. Mariah interjected, accusing me of jealousy, her words laced with denial. James supported her, suggesting counseling, but I dismissed it, stating the damage was done. The argument heated, with Helen tearing up and Joseph raising his voice about family unity. I remained composed, focusing on facts like the basement's unsuitability documented by photos I'd taken. They tried guilting me with reminders of their support post-divorce, but I reminded them of my contributions through bills and chores. As tensions peaked, I called William, who arrived within 30 minutes in his pickup truck, ready to help load essentials. He greeted everyone politely but wasted no time hauling boxes to his vehicle, his presence a silent ally in the chaos. The twins emerged with their packs, eyes wide at the confrontation. I directed them to the car, shielding them from barbs. Mariah pleaded for reconciliation, but I shook my head, saying we'd communicate through text if needed, effectively cutting daily ties. We drove to Cheyenne's place, a cozy townhouse 10 minutes away, where she'd prepared guest rooms with fresh linens and snacks. She welcomed us warmly, offering hot chocolate to calm the children, listening as I vented the evening's events. Once settled, I sat with Sierra and Christopher on the couch, explaining that people who don't respect us don't deserve our presence. Sierra nodded, vowing to practice her music loudly in our new home, and Christopher drew a picture of our future apartment, his creativity unhindered. That night I emailed the landlord confirming our move-in date, attaching necessary documents. Sleep came easier knowing we'd escaped the toxicity. The next day I returned briefly for remaining items like furniture and kitchenware, but only with Cheyenne accompanying, avoiding interactions. Joseph handed over keys silently, Helen absent from the exchange. Back at Cheyenne's, we unpacked what we had, the twins exploring her backyard, laughing freely for the first time in weeks. William texted offers for more help, suggesting a pizza dinner to celebrate. I reassured the children against stressing their worth and how this change protected them from unfair treatment and emotional harm. Sierra hugged me tightly and Christopher smiled shyly, his breathing steady without basement triggers. Over the following days, I arranged utilities for the new place, coordinating with the school for address updates. Cheyenne shared stories of her own family estrangements, validating my decision and offering tips on emotional recovery. The apartment featured bright rooms and a small balcony overlooking trees, a stark contrast to the lake's oppressive fog. We moved in fully after a week, carrying boxes upstairs, the twins claiming spaces enthusiastically. I set ground rules for our home, emphasizing mutual respect and open communication. Sierra's clarinet sessions filled evenings and Christopher's art-adorned walls. Cutting ties meant ignoring calls from Helen, blocking Mariah's numbers temporarily. Joseph sent one message about belongings, which I responded to curtly. The freedom invigorated me, focusing energy on teaching where I implemented new curriculum ideas successfully. The twins thrived, joining after-school clubs without restrictions. William visited, bringing housewarming plants, his support evolving into friendship. Cheyenne became a regular, hosting playdates. Reflecting the departure wasn't revenge but self-preservation, ensuring the children grew in equity. Their happiness confirmed it. After settling into the new apartment, my career at Lincoln Elementary took an upward turn with a promotion to lead teacher for the second grade team. This role involved coordinating curriculum across classes, mentoring new staff, and organizing professional development sessions, which came with a 15% salary increase. The extra income allowed me to secure a mortgage for a small bungalow closer to Lake Michigan shores, featuring a fenced yard and updated kitchen, a far cry from the cramped family home. We moved in during early winter, the twins helping arrange furniture, their energy high as they personalized rooms. Sierra set up her music stand by the window, practicing scales without interruption, her confidence growing with each note. Christopher's asthma episodes decreased significantly thanks to the dry, clean air and regular checkups, his drawings now vibrant landscapes inspired by our walks along the water. Independence brought routines tailored to us, family dinners with recipes we chose, movie nights on Fridays, weekend hikes in nearby preserves, and monthly budgeting meetings. School performance improved for both, with Sierra earning solos in band and Christopher joining the science club, exploring experiments freely. Meanwhile, back in the old household, consequences unfolded harshly. Joseph and Helen's health deteriorated from accumulated stress, Joseph suffering hypertension leading to a minor stroke, and Helen developing anxiety requiring therapy. Without my support, they struggled with chores and bills, eventually entering a state-run nursing facility in central Illinois where costs mounted, leaving them isolated without visits from Mariah. Mariah and James's marriage crumbled under renovation debts exceeding $50,000, compounded by James's job loss. Arguments escalated into a contentious divorce, assets split unevenly, James retaining the home, while Mariah received minimal alimony. Her boutique business faltered without babysitting help, sales dropping, ultimately closing after 6 months, forcing her to take a retail job. I learned of these developments through acquaintances but chose not to intervene, deleting voicemails from Helen pleading for reconciliation. Joseph sent letters expressing regret, but I filed them unanswered, prioritizing our peace. Destiny Larson, my aunt from my father's side, reached out, visiting with homemade pies and stories confirming the favoritism she'd witnessed. She described childhood incidents where Mariah got extra allowances while I handled responsibilities, validating my experiences. During talks over tea, Destiny shared advice on boundaries, drawing from her estrangement. Her support strengthened my resolve, the twins warming to her as a positive influence. Christopher's health stabilized with allergy testing. Destiny recommended identifying triggers we avoided. Sierra flourished in lessons Destiny funded, partially performing at recitals with applause boosting her self-esteem. Refusing contact meant ignoring holiday invitations, spending Thanksgiving with Cheyenne and William, who became close friends. Cheyenne hosted potlucks, William organized game nights, providing community without drama. As months passed, the bungalow became our sanctuary, garden beds yielding vegetables. The lake's views offered serenity, evening walks clearing my mind. Professionally, I led a district-wide initiative on inclusive education, earning recognition, independent of family. The twins adapted, forming friendships, biking to parks. Their questions about grandparents faded, replaced by excitement for traditions. Destiny's visits became regular, bringing games and wisdom, reinforcing chosen family surpasses blood in nurture. Reflecting, respecting fairness fosters happiness. Independence shielded the children from harm, proving self-respect outweighs obligatory bonds. Prioritizing well-being wasn't selfish but essential for growth. If faced again, I'd choose the same path. Share thoughts on breaking free from unfair ties in comments. Like and subscribe for more stories of empowerment.